and you'll all be gone.
Oh, what is the name of the really good Thai restaurant?
Flamin' Thai,
Ooh,
Washington Avenue.
thank you.
Is that a close walk?
No.
Nope.
No?
How far away is it?
Yeah, probably not. Locals might tell you that's not a walk you want to make.
Can you make it on public transportation?
Yes. Uber Eats. And then you got to take an Uber. Oh, no.
No, the Uber comes to you with the food.
But isn't
It's a,
it expires something like 20 bucks a minute?
yeah, mile and a half, I'd say.
We do?
Yeah. Washington Avenue. But Uber Eats will do it for you, and that's a great idea.
We said it's called Flaming Thai.
Flamin' Thai, yep. Thai. For all those spelling at home. And the good thing is pepper steak. Yeah, pineapple pepper steak. Yeah, it is. It is good. It's the most expensive thing they got. Yeah, you guys got expense accounts, maybe. No one would expect you to eat for anything less than $20. No one.
Yeah.
Maryland.
Maryland and Iowa need to win the tournament to get a number one seed. Indiana just needs to make it to the final.
Bolivia.
Yeah.
LSU loses in the next couple of stuff.
I don't know.
They kill Georgia.
With a 4 hour delay.
Maryland.
I know you've heard this before, but
Defense.
tornado. We had to hit the SEC tournament.
No.
Yeah. 4 hour delay
They
because
were
the roof
they
leaked.
were
Yeah.
they were talking about it.
I went to a
hockey tournament in northern Minnesota, which is a big deal around here. On the way into the arena, there's a big deal. These roof collapsed with the rain stop. The building inspector is aware, but you know you're at your own risk.
We'll be playing this game.
They're very serious about hockey. They're not willing to. If it collapses on you, so what?
It's the state of hockey for a reason.
right. We can't reschedule all these.
What year was it when the Vikings done? Second one.
That was 2011,
11, 10, four. That's what I was like.
Fun fact, I was in the dome when the tornado hit. When the tornado hit, yeah.
I was doing video at the time, and I know that no one leaves a camera running in Metro over at the court.
I'm trying to one of the things that I do is like
It
I
might
don't
collapse.
I kind of understand.
As a photographer, you wouldn't go up to your assignment copy.
I'm just gonna leave my
It's very
camera
I
rolling
haven't heard of it,
all
but
night
like
long because I think I
I
know
had to explain what hot dish was. That's what it was.
how you get
I
the
was there
video.
in the men's casserole. My colleague at the time, his name was Butch Seacrest. We do all this stuff at the catwalk that was spiced like this. That's Seacrest was taking an inch goes, if that thing falls, we're all dead. We all die.
Much different team. Thanks, Ray. When they're players like that,
I hate to look too excited that they might be here. Here we are.
Hi, Coach. Welcome to the press conference area.
What are you doing here?
All right, so we're going to have Coach is going to give an opening statement, and then the student athletes will take questions. So raise your hand. We'll get that microphone to you. Once the student athletes' questions have completed, we'll release them back to the locker room, and Coach will stay here and finish the job. How's that sound?
Great.
All right, you can start the job now.
All right,
All right.
sounds great. Obviously, we're thrilled to be able to come out, and I thought we set the tone from the tip. Obviously, we've been off for about a week, so it took a little bit in that first 4 or 5 minutes to get our feet under us. But just I thought defensively, we were really aggressive and we're able to turn them over for a lot of turnovers on the defensive end. Offensively, just love the 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio as a team, just spreading the wealth, being really, really unselfish. Bree has, shared with her the first time we played Illinois to tonight. There's something about being from Chicago and liking to play against Illinois. Just I thought it was a very contagious energy that she was able to provide for us off the bench. But I can't say enough about Shauna and their staff and Illinois. I hope they make a deep run in the NCAA tournament. Their job's done. Their staff has done a terrific job this year, and obviously we're thrilled about continuing on.
Okay, we got a question here for student athletes.
Bree, we're going to start with you. You kind of had that look in your eye like Northwestern again today. What was working so well for you, and how dangerous is this team when the bench is kind of clicking like you guys were today as a whole?
One thing I can say, once I came on the floor, I just wanted to bring a spark on defense. That's one thing I can do, and just doing whatever Coach B needed me to do or the team. And once we're clicking on the bench, is like amazing. This team can do anything that they put their minds to. So just sticking together has been a good thing for us.
For both players, in such a it's like a really solid game. Charlie Cream tweeted out the other day that Maryland could be in tension for a number 1 seed. If you could, I don't want to make you critique the game too much, but what do you think are some areas maybe you guys could maybe get even better in to kind of like elevate the team even further?
Yeah, I think we're a great team, but there's always something to get better at, and defense wins games, right? I think today our defense held strong for most of the 40 minutes. But as we play bigger teams down the stretch, right, we got to figure out ways to get those defensive rebounds and box out. And I think that's something we work on every day in practice is sticking to our principles of boxing out, checking first and then getting the ball and, no middle drives, right? So I think defense is going to be our priority in wanting to get better down the road.
Another thing, just to piggyback off of what Abby said, defense wins games. So we come in and just have our defense set the tone. That's just gonna set out the game, because once we get the defense rolling, everybody start clicking. So once we do that, we're perfectly fine. So I say defense.
Hey guys, question for Bree. Noticed throughout the game you just had a smile on your face the entire time. So how did it feel to not just have a great game, but to have a great game in your first college tournament and just be in a tournament setting for the first time?
It felt great. Just knowing that I could contribute to the team and to the win. Just love being out there with them. They push me every day in practice, push me to get better. So just doing what I need to do that I do in practice on to transfer over to the game. So once I did that, I felt like we were perfectly fine. So once I did that and Coach B was telling me that, good job, I knew I was doing something good. So I was like, okay, let's go.
Mr. Damon Brooks, on the Zoom call, would you unmute your microphone and ask your question, please?
Hey, ladies, congratulations on the victory. Bree, you took a charge in the fourth quarter up 21. What went into your ability just to, keep playing in the fourth quarter and, continue to play defense for your team?
Just I have to play. I can't just play for like a set time. Like I gotta make sure I play full game. It's not 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It got to be a full 40. Even the time that I'm on the bench, I got to try to give energy. So just being out there and being like the energetic person I can be did a good thing for us. So, hey, I think I'm doing something right.
And then Abby, you were comfortable making plays off the ball, off one leg, fadeaways, get into the lane. How often do you work on your game, with different finishes and finishing at the rim?
All the time. Yeah, I think you really have to continue to be versatile, right? Especially as you get later into the season. People know your scout, know what you're capable of. And for me, I just try and be as unpredictable as possible. Work on the, when the three-point shot's not falling, I can always rely on the pull-up jumpers, the post-ups. So, yeah, I just try and keep my offensive game fresh.
Thank you.
We'll come back to the room here.
Yeah, for both the players, there was a point in the second half where Illinois called a timeout, and the coaches did their own thing, and the players kind of created their own huddle. What's discussed in that players-only huddle, and what do you guys kind of talk to each other about? What your game plan or motivation really?
Sometimes it's a mess, honestly. Like, you got people talking just because the adrenaline's rushing, and but it's just really positive things, right? Usually it's about the most recent play that we had or what we need to improve on in the coming minute or so. But we're just trying to be as positive out there and motivational as possible because it's a big stage that we're on. We're having a lot of fun, but we gotta lock in and take those timeouts, as little gifts, right, to kind of reset and regain our momentum.
Sometimes we just don't know what to say. We just sit there. But hey, we came together, talked about it, and we just moved on. One thing that I can say we gotten better at was not thinking about the last play. We just moved on. Because if we think about the last play, it's just not going to end well for us. So once we move forward, we good. That's all that matters.
We have Dylan on the Zoom call. Dylan, would you unmute your microphone and ask your question, please?
Hey, this one's for Abby. There were a handful of plays today that really demonstrated the team's IQ. Shy throwing the ball off the player's back, Faith making a big hustle play, diving, and somehow that, the ball stayed in play. How often does this team's IQ impress you as one of the leaders of the team?
I think that's just people being playmakers, right? Knowing the game, playing the game long enough. And we're all very capable basketball players. We know the right play from the wrong. Sometimes we make the wrong play still. But, it's a constant learning, just learning process for us. And it's always fun to see fun little things like Shy with the off-the-back layup. And, Faith, she's our glue, so she's always doing the dirty plays. But, we're just going to keep using that IQ, right, and keep winning.
Thanks, Ab.
Yeah.
Congrats on the win.
Thanks, Dylan.
All right, we'll let the student athletes go. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a question here.
Hey, Brenda.
Hey.
I wanted to ask about that defense, specifically the three-point defense today. That was an Illinois team that kind of got really loose last night. That's been their bread and butter all season long. How were you guys able to, or what was the scout to kind of take away that three-point line and not let them get hot like they have been?
Yeah, it was something we stressed, obviously, coming out from the tip, not allowing those threes, especially early. But I thought we were locked in. I mean, you saw that on the defensive end, which allowed us, out of our press when we were sprinting out of that, not giving up as many easy threes and just using our length. I thought we contested a lot of shots and moved, where we were able to get there on the pass.
Hey, Coach. Same question I gave the players. For you as a team that's always looking to improve, what are some of the areas that you would like to maybe see the team tighten up, to kind of elevate you guys to the next stage?
Yeah, there's always going to be areas for us to improve. I thought, some of the plays, the and one plays, I thought we gave up a few too many when they were able to get downhill. I think being able to wall up, and I think just continuing to keep playing the right way. I thought defensively and offensively, as long as we continue to play in these areas. I thought early the first half, we settled for too many outside shots to start the game, but they're very good of kind of understanding the rhythm and the flow through the timeouts. But I think we've got to get there earlier, kind of understanding the game plan, which we were able to eventually get to.
I got you going back and forth, don't I? Sorry.
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
Obviously, in the past few games, we've seen the emergence of Lavine off the bench. Today, the depth really showed off. Bench outscored them 28-0. You may not have wanted to go to Lavine and Bree so early in the game, 2 minutes in, but what kind of surprised you of their impact so early and how the bench was able to be so effective, really for almost the entire game, and just what does that kind of say about how the depth on this team continues to improve as we get later into the season?
Yeah, just huge, and I actually intentionally kind of wanted to get them in early just to get those nerves kind of out of the way, and just knowing how aggressive we wanted to be. But to be able to, obviously with Lav and Nay's experience, and then I thought Bree was just fearless tonight, and I think it says a lot about Bree. I mean, she found out when we touched down that she had lost a cousin as soon as we had gotten here to Minneapolis, so. I think she's playing with even a greater purpose, but I thought even going into this game from her last game, rewatching the game, she was so good, and I was hoping that was going to be the Bree that we would get, and I mean, she's got, she continues to kind of show as a freshman, she's got a big upside.
Question here.
Brendan, for somebody that's done the Illinois Scout twice in the last month, what are you seeing that they do that could potentially give somebody a problem in the NCAA tournament?
It's disappointing, obviously, for them to lose their depth. I'll say that because you need that, going through the tournament. But, I mean, they've got guard play that's just super dynamic and can score the basketball. I mean, they were on day 2 of legs today. But when you talk about Bryant and Cook and the combination of those two, they're such difficult matchups to have to be able to guard. And they share the basketball, extremely well. They've really improved from the first time we played them with the press. So I think they got a chance to do some great things in the tournament.
I want to go back to the bench just one more time. What are the biggest, the biggest strides that particularly those three have made from back in November when, we kept talking about, hey, we need more, you need more from the bench, you need more from the bench?
I think Bree just alluded to it where she talked about not hanging on to past mistakes. And I think that's where we used to be. And I think we've been able to be really resilient coming out of those plays and not spiraling from them. And or if you're challenged in some sort of moment, they're able to rise up. So it just great, growth, maturity, and great confidence that I think they've really evolved and kind of understand how important they are to this team.
Right there.
Brenda, you know Iowa pretty well at this point. What's your expectation for tomorrow?
Oh, it's going to be a heck of a battle. And for us, it's going to feel like a road game when I saw all, and we know how close it is for their fans, and they travel extremely well. And obviously with Caitlin Clark, why wouldn't you come out and see her play? But two great teams, obviously split on each, everyone took their home court. So, again, I know the last time we played, they're going to have great pride to come into this game. And, both teams will be ready to play from the tip.
All right, we're going to go to Dylan on the Zoom call. Dylan?
Hey, Coach. Just wanted to really, get your thoughts on how you were able to plan for Genesis Bryant today. You're facing her for the first time this season. Obviously, she didn't play last time when Maryland played Illinois. So just curious what your plan was, for guarding her today.
Yeah, really wanting to close long and be there on the catch. I mean, she's a great shooter, scorer, and like you said, didn't play the first time against us. We knew she could score the basketball. So, just those two, that's why I think they'll go far in the tournament. Those two are just dynamic, athletic, really hard matchups to have to guard. So, I thought we were trying to get her out of the game and we couldn't, and they're in the entire fourth quarter. So, I thought she was really disciplined, once she picked up her fourth, not to get her fifth.
Yeah, and another quick one. Same thing I asked Abby, how often does this team's IQ impress you, and how has it grown over the course of the season? Because, I don't think in November, this team would be making plays like the one Shy did, throwing it off somebody's back and getting it for that layup.
Yeah, I was excited for Shy. That was a play she did when we recruited her in high school in AAU. So it told me, she was in her bag, she was confident, and when she's playing like that. But they've grown so much. You can see when they were diving into the post tonight and looking for each other and just kind of really playing well off of one another. So that growth. I think you're seeing that trust and that chemistry has really evolved.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to stay on the Zoom. And Damon, do you have a question?
Yes. Hey, Coach. 26 assists tonight. The ball seemed to be moving at a high rate. You all signified success, obviously, scoring and getting the victory. How dangerous is your offense when the ball is able to move at a rapid rate like that?
Yeah, I think we're really hard to guard when the ball is moving side to side, getting in the paint off of off the bounce. So really difficult to have to figure out. I think if you looked at this box score, just trying to, a lot of teams have spent a lot of time sagging and, trying to, make Diamond pass. And I thought this was one of Diamond's most flawless games. 5 assists, no turnovers or defense. I thought she was all over the game. But just that trust level is huge.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
If everybody else is done. Hey, Kent Youngblood from the Star Tribune here. There was some news here this week with the Gophers deciding to go a different direction. Must have hit you fairly hard, given your relationship with Lindsay. You coached her. I was wondering if you could just comment on what your reaction was. And having coached here, you know what the potential of this market is, whether you think that is an attractive job going forward.
Yeah. I was disappointed. Obviously, the timing of it I thought was tough. Being here in Minneapolis and tournament, and I think it was just the very next day. So that was tough. I've reached out to Lindsay. I've talked to her by text. It's a tough business, but yes, it's a great job. Her and her staff. They've got a young core of kids in there right now. That freshman class. Thought she'd have a little more time to develop it, but they did a great job with that freshman class that got to spend a ton of time. So whoever walks into that, it's a very attractive job, and you can get the best players in the state of Minnesota and surrounding to be able to stay home. And you see where the Big Ten is right now and all the great teams. So this is where recruits want to play. Yep.
How important was it to get, you got kind of some of the reserves in, 5 minutes, 40 seconds, almost 6 minutes, especially, potential for 3 games in 3 days to get, some of the starters those minutes to rest at the end of the game?
Yeah, big. We really talked about, we were hoping we would be able to be able to extend that, and I thought, they were really intentional about being able to do it and to be able to get some of that rest for Shy and Faith and, within this game. And, again, when we can extend our bench like that, it's big.
Hey, Coach. 8 different players scored for you guys tonight. How does this kind of not just being connected on the offense, but also the selflessness of this team, how does that help you guys continue to grow your game?
Yeah, I think it makes it tonight. They made the game look really easy. And again, a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio in a quarterfinal game is that bodes really well. So when we just continue to keep taking what the defense gives us, that's how you're able to kind of get some relief there in those possessions on the offensive end. And I even thought defensively they were very connected, and really have been in this month of February, March, with the schedule. They've really grown.
Any more questions from here on the Zoom call? All right, thanks.
Thank you.
That's fine. That'll give me a chance to give announcements. No. You'll have opening statement, and then we'll have questions for the student athletes. And then once they're done, we will dismiss them back to the locker room, and coach can stay here and finish. So we'll just wait for one more minute here. It's kind of like an airplane. All right, Coach, would you start with the opening statement, please?
Credit Maryland. I mean, Maryland's really, really good. And their length, their pressure in the half court. I thought we did a better job handling the press, but just their size, their length across the board gave us some problems early on. But we came out, we started well. The first quarter was good, and then just like last game, we played 3 solid quarters, but that one quarter really kind of did us in. And last game we played them, it was the third. Now it was the second this quarter. You can't score only 7 points and lose a quarter 7-21 against a team of this caliber. So, I told our team, we got to understand in order to take kind of that next jump and to be able to, be like a Maryland, be like these guys that have, sustained success. We're not there yet. We're not there yet, and we'll get there. and we got to learn from this, and we got to just continue to work and take things of, okay, this is what it looks like. This is what being a top 10 team in the country, looks like. And so I'm really proud of our guys. I challenged them at halftime to come out and just to compete and to play our game and not play timid, to shoot if you're open, and we did that. And we won the second half by 1. So we're going to learn from this. We'll improve. And we lost to a really good team.
Do we have any questions in the room for the student athletes?
For either one or both, just what does Maryland's length 1 through 5 just kind of do to cause you problems on both ends of the floor?
I think, there's not a lot of teams that are kind of, I think, long like them in every position. And, they're very guard-like, they're very guard-heavy. So, I think, just kind of staying, collected and calm and stuff. And I think sometimes, as a team, we get a little frazzled, when, they ramp up the pace and the press and stuff like that. So I think it's just we got to stay together within ourselves. But, the length does make it a little bit harder. But, their teams have different strengths. So it's not something we can't handle. But it definitely does cause some problems every now and then.
Jen, your three-pointers tied and then set the new single-season program record for three-pointers made in a season. Just first, what does it mean to you and this team to kind of breaking that mark? And second, just what does it mean to you personally to have hit the three-pointers to actually break that program record?
I didn't know that during the game or before anything like that. But I just feel like it's just a testament to our style of play. We're run, we're defend, rebound, and run. So I feel like when we run and we get out, we get good shots. They're good looks for us. So that's just a testament to how we play.
Question here.
In Maryland's press conference, Coach Freeze praised your team's just overall abilities and said that you guys were a team that had the potential to really make some noise and cause problems in the NCAA tournament. For you two, what are some things that you guys are looking to do that if you can capitalize on will allow you to make some noise in the tournament?
I think, Coach Green always says, at this point in the season, it's really just about execution. Everybody knows everybody's plays. Everybody knows everyone's, strengths and stuff. So I think we just really have to come together and do, all the little things, really work on the things that we've been talking about all season, some of the things that we struggle with in these games, just really kind of locking in and focusing on those, because I think that'll take us far. A missed box out here and there, one bad shot, something like that. So just kind of having that maturity about us too, and the ones that have been to the NCAA tournament before, we kind of know what that's like. So just kind of having that confidence and just being hey, this is how it goes. This is what you need to do. It's going to be nerve-wracking at first, but I think we're excited for it.
All right, do we have any questions on the Zoom call for the student athletes at this time? Anyone further in the room? All right, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any questions in the room for the coach?
Shauna, just want to ask about their three-point defense tonight. Is it as simple as just getting a hand in the face, or did they do something to kind of try to close out, make that harder, run you guys off the line or something like that?
I really don't think they did anything different. They were urgent. They got out there, and they had a high hand, and they're long, right? So it's a little bit easier on a closeout. But I also thought we passed up some shots in the first half. I thought Jen had some open looks, Jada, and then I told Jen that at halftime, and she came out, and she only had 2 points at half and ended up with 17. So I just want them to take shots, and that's the only time they'll hear me yelling at them is when they're not shooting them, because I just know how great of a shooter Genesis is. So I don't think it was anything necessarily different. They're a good defensive team, and they're long, and they got it. I think maybe even their length kind of made us hesitate a little bit, oh, shoot, I don't want to get blocked. And I told them, I don't care if you get blocked, shoot up, but they're just a really good overall defensive team.
It's going to sound like a dumb question, Shauna, but Makira seemed, especially in that first half, to be able to get downhill. Is there things you've been able to do with her over the last month that have been able to get her, more in a confidence mode, or is she just kind of been that way all year, or offensively has she taken another step?
It's with Makaira when she gets in, that I think the bigger the moment, the she rises to it. And I've said this since, the day that I start coaching her. She can get a shot off at any time against anyone in the country. And you saw that tonight because Maryland's a heck of a lot bigger than her and really good defenders, and she can still get a shot off at any time. And that's special. You do not have a lot of women's basketball players that can do that. And she's doing it at 5'6". So I think it's her mindset. It's her mindset, and I'm constantly telling her, be the aggressor, be in attack mode, have the confidence that you can score on anyone in the country. And I think you've seen that the last few games. She's just really, really, really been the aggressor.
Hey, Coach. Last time out, your perimeter defense, held Maryland to 0 for 17 from a 3. Today, you held them to 4 for 16. They really couldn't get much going from beyond the arc. What is your perimeter defense? What have you guys been able to do, in that aspect against the Maryland team that has a lot of really good shooters, to contain them in that area?
I think Maryland just probably shot it bad last time. I don't know if it was anything, special, but just kind of like what, you asked about our I think it was the same thing Maryland does. We just preach, your shooters, your scout. And then there's awareness and urgency. And being there, our whole, what I always say is we got to be there on the catch. So it's a game within the game. You leave on the flight of the ball, there's awareness, and then there's urgency. And the game within the game is being there on the catch with a high hand. And if you do that, again, more often than not in our game, those shots, those percentages are going to go off a little bit. If you give people at our level open shots without a high hand, percentage goes up. So that's just our philosophy defensively. So I don't know if it's our defense or just a bad day for these guys shooting.
Similar question that I asked the players, but this team has obviously achieved a lot, milestones, records, accolades, but what does this record mean to have the most three-pointers made in a season? I know, especially given your fondness for the three-pointer.
It actually, if you would have told me that, there's a lot of things I've said. If you would have told me that, I would have told you you're crazy. But that was probably one of the biggest ones. Mm-hmm. If you would have told me at the beginning of the year that we were number 1 in the nation three-point percentage for a while. And I did not think we were that great of shooters, to be completely honest. So I credit our players for repping it and getting in. And then I also think, like Jen said, I think our style are we don't take a lot of threes. So if you look at, we're shooting high percentage, but we're not jacking threes. Our threes come out of rhythm, they come out of inside out. So now our percentage is going to be higher. If we're just not a team that's just going to shoot a ton of them. Like some teams in our league are known for shooting a ton of them. So that's why I also think our efficiency has been higher, is because we take good threes and rhythm threes and threes out of our offense.
Hey, Coach, kind of a two-parter, similar to what I asked the questions. What's one thing that you, or maybe some things that you would like to see the team tighten up to really maybe potentially cause some, wreak some havoc in the tournament? And then maybe from Maryland as well, what do you think something that they could do, maybe improve on, tighten up a little bit to kind of elevate themselves?
Mm-hmm. For us, it's just consistency in really our core values of our defense, number 1. There's too many lapses today in what we want, and we're very simplified in terms of our defensive philosophy. So we can't afford to have lapses, and I thought we did a better job. Our focus on Diamond tonight was much better because she killed us last game with 31. So I thought we did a better job, with scout-specific stuff. So I think defensively, that area and rebounding, boxing out, it's just so simple. We're small. So, and we have, we're one of the better rebounding teams, but that's because of the discipline and the technique of boxing out. And there's times we go on these lapses where we're just not physical enough. So that's what I think for us going into the tournament. And then for Maryland, I think they defend. Their style is conducive to make runs. Because if you're not going to defend, you're not going to make a deep tournament run. I'm a firm believer on that, and you see that with some of these teams that get knocked out early. So I think Maryland has that. They obviously can score. I think the one thing maybe, is when they're making their threes, like they're impossible to beat. You know, like they're really, really hard to beat. So we were in the game at home because, yeah, they shot over. Like that's not going to happen that many times. And even tonight they only hit 4. Now I watched them against some other teams, you know. I don't know what they hit against the Iowa game, but I just felt like they were making a lot of threes. And I'm like, I'm watching that game like, literally, I'm like, how the hell did they not have a 3 against us? Because they're draining them all, you know, in that game. So I think if they get hitting from 3, they have the ability. They have all the pieces that you need to make a deep run in the NCAA tournament. And I'll be pulling for them. You know, I want our league to win, and I'll be their biggest fans rooting for them.
So, Shauna, even in the A-10 tournament in your history, you've had this 6, 7, 8 day break before selection night. Just what's the plan of action for you guys as you deal with an NCAA tournament bid that's coming? Yeah, for us, too, with kind of our status with our team, with being injured, you know, with not being deep, we'll take some time to just get some rest and see if we can get some people healthy. So, you know, we have a lot of players that play 40 minutes a lot of nights, and we need some rest. But then this week, like, this is a fun week. And for me, I mean, you know, it's a lot of times, you know, you're kind of in that, and again, I'm probably going to jinx us because I'm saying that I think we're in the tournament. But there was times where if we didn't win, and at Dayton, like, I'm freaking out the whole week because it's, you know, we're a 1 or 2 bid league. So, you know, I think that I want our kids to enjoy this, you know, for this being, we're in a different spot for us right now than a Maryland going into the NCAA tournament. Let's just call it what it is, right? Like, I want our kids to enjoy this. I want our kids to learn from, okay, this is where we want our program to get to. But I also do think we can go and win. So we're going to work. We're going to enjoy the practices. We're going to get rest. And then we're going to see what happens at the selection show.
Do we have any questions remaining in the room? Do we have any questions on the Zoom call? All right, Shauna, thank you.
Thank you.